A small 4-year-old Naruto Uzumaki wandered along the outskirts of the village, having escaped yet another angry mob. After slipping and tumbling into a hidden pit, he found himself among the remnants of old ruins. Exploring with curiosity, he stumbled into what looked like a hidden chamber. In the corner rested a small wooden chest. Naturally, being the inquisitive boy he was, Naruto pried it open and discovered 3 oddly shaped fruits and a folded letter. Several dusty books were tucked inside as well, each bearing the name of someone called Trafalgar D. Water Law. "Kit, check the note. If those fruits are what I think they hold power beyond anything you've seen," rumbled Kurama from within him. It had only been 2 months since Naruto met the Nine Tails, and to his surprise, the great beast was far different from the terrifying monster he'd heard of. Kurama was harsh at times, but strangely caring, far kinder than the villagers who despised him. Listening to him felt natural, especially since following his advice had spared him countless beatings. "Are they really that strong?" Naruto asked silently. "They're rare and yes, incredibly powerful," the fox confirmed. Naruto unfolded the parchment, his eyes widening as he read. "If you've uncovered this place, then you've stumbled onto some of the world's greatest secrets. My name is Trafalgar D. Water Law, once the user of the Opope fruit, the red one. As a doctor, this fruit allowed me to perform miraculous surgeries and cure incurable diseases. The fruit beside it is the Chiyu fruit, granting the ability to heal wounds using liquid, though it shortens the user's lifespan. The third is the Moku fruit, stolen from a marine officer named Smoker. It allows one's body to become smoke itself. The books will explain more. Be warned, only one fruit can be consumed safely. Eating more than one will kill you, and you'll lose the ability to swim. Still, with them, you may carve your own path. Alongside these fruits, I've left behind techniques and fighting styles that I hope you'll use well. Good luck, Trafalgar D. Waterlaw. Naruto's jaw dropped. "This is amazing, Kurama. I knew it. These fruits carry great power. But tell me, do you really want to become a healer?" Kurama asked. Naruto thought for a moment, then grinned. "Yeah, I'll become the greatest medic ever, better than anyone. But I'll still be able to fight, right?" Kurama chuckled. "Of course, and about those curses. Don't worry, if you want more than one, I'll protect you from the side effects. Swimming too. You're my host, and I won't let mere fruit or water defeat you. I am the mighty Kyuubi no Kitsune." Naruto laughed at his proud tone. "Say, Kurama, I've been thinking, maybe I should leave the village. I don't feel safe here anymore." His voice dropped sadly, and even the fox felt a pang of sympathy. The boy was only 4 years old, yet already carried the hatred of the entire village. "If that's your decision, then we'll go. But first, you'll need to raid your parents' home for their scrolls and jutsu. Bring these fruits and books too. They'll serve you well," Kurama advised. Naruto nodded. He knew who his parents were, though he wasn't sure how to feel. He didn't hate them more than anything. It seemed they had been victims of betrayal. Still, he'd never met them, so there was no bond to mourn. "How do we carry all this?" he asked. "I was sealed by 2 masters of Fuinjutsu. I know enough about sealing to store everything in scrolls, but I'll need to take control of your body for a while. Once we're ready, we'll head to Uzushio. Mito visited there sometimes. It's simple enough." "Why Uzushio?" "Because only someone with Uzumaki blood can enter. Even if the old monkey sends shinobi after you, they won't be able to get in. It's the last place they'd expect you to hide." Naruto understood. For his age, he was far too mature, forced to grow quickly because of his circumstances. "Should I eat the fruits now?" "Not yet. We don't know how the smoke one works, and losing control could expose us." "Patience," Kurama warned. "All right then, let's get everything ready," Naruto said with determination. That night, he sneaked into the Namikaze compound. Shadow clones carried scrolls, books, and supplies from the chest, while others raided the library for texts on medicine and anatomy. Kurama guided him through sealing techniques, storing everything neatly into scrolls, which Naruto packed into bags. Clones also slipped into stores, grabbing food unnoticed. Most shopkeepers were too arrogant to ward their supplies with seals. Kurama sealed that as well. "Everything's ready. Time to leave," Naruto whispered. From that night onward, the boy vanished from Konoha. The next morning, Hokage's office, Hiruzen Sarutobi, the third Hokage, known as the god of shinobi, faced a problem unlike his usual mountains of paperwork. Naruto had not appeared at all that day. Normally, the boy would storm into his office with a grin, or word of a prank would reach him by now. Instead, silence. Concern gnawed at him. He often cursed the civilian council that gained influence after Minato's death. He had wanted to adopt Naruto himself, but they had denied him, branding him too unstable. To Hiruzen, the boy was like a grandson, and it hurt deeply to see him suffer. "Inu," Hiruzen called, and an ANBU in a dog mask appeared instantly. "Yes, Hokage-sama. Find Naruto, he isn't anywhere in the village." The ANBU was surprised but bowed. "At once." He checked Naruto's apartment first. The place was emptier than usual. Just as he was about to leave, his eye caught a letter on the table. It read, "Hey, Oji-chan, I'm guessing you're the one who'll find this. Don't worry about me, I've left the village. Isn't that great? I'm tired of everything here, so please don't send anyone after me. You might never see me again. P.S. I know why the villagers hate me. P.P.S. I also know who my parents are. I'm not stupid. P.P.P.S. I don't hate you." Naruto and Uzumaki. When Hiruzen finished reading, a tear slid down his wrinkled cheek. Naruto didn't resent him, even after all the secrecy. But his heart grew heavy. Naruto was still the son of the fourth Hokage, still a Jinchuriki, and the world beyond Konoha was unforgiving. The council would rage, and Jiraiya would demand answers once he learned his godson was gone. "Inu, take a squad and track Naruto down. Bring him back safely without harm," the Hokage ordered firmly. "Hi," Inu responded, but before leaving, he hesitated and spoke again. "Hokage-sama, may I say something?" "Go ahead. I don't care what you or the council decide, I will adopt him," he declared with clear anger before disappearing. The Hokage rubbed his temples with a heavy sigh. "I'm far too old for this nonsense." Uchiha compound. Mikoto Uchiha, wife of clan head Fugaku Uchiha, was the proud mother of two sons. Itachi, the genius at 9 years old, and little Sasuke, only 4. Few knew her closest friend was Kushina Uzumaki, who had entrusted her with the role of godmother to her child, Naruto, the vessel of the 9 tails. Mikoto had known about Kushina's burden as a Jinchuriki, just as the wife of the first Hokage once was. She had long wanted to take Naruto in, but both Fugaku and the Hokage refused, afraid the truth of his heritage would be exposed if the boy stayed with them. Mikoto thought it was foolish. Naruto looked so much like Minato that anyone with eyes could piece it together. It was as if the Hokage was relying entirely on the ignorance of the villagers. Ignoring their restrictions, she still met Naruto in secret. She had even taught him to read and write when the orphanage cruelly neglected to do so. So when she discovered a folded note hidden in her closet with his handwriting on it, her heart clenched. Reading the words, tears streamed down her face. Naruto had run away. He had learned of his burden of his parents and could no longer bear the villagers' hatred. The thought of a 4-year-old child wandering the world alone, let alone one carrying the 9 tails, terrified her. She didn't care about the beast sealed inside him, but she knew other villages would. They would hunt him. Fear turned quickly into fury, most of it aimed at herself. She had been powerless, and her inaction had allowed this innocent boy to suffer. Even worse, she could see her eldest son hardening into someone cold and detached, all because of the world's cruelty. No more, she vowed. She would never again stand by helplessly. She would reclaim her strength. Konoha's Sharingan mistress was awakening once more. 2 weeks later, Uzashio Naruto finally arrived at Uzashio, only to feel his chest tighten at the ruins of his ancestral home. Still, he pressed forward. Cleverly, he had sent clones scattering in different directions to throw off any pursuers. His mother's journal had guided him to a hidden seal, one that transported Uzumaki blood directly into the village. Inside, Naruto uncovered a concealed chamber filled with scrolls, writings, and ancient techniques. With the help of his clones, he devoured the knowledge with wide-eyed awe. In his small hands, he now held 3 strange fruits, though Kurama had advised patience. He had studied everything he'd gathered from both Uzashio and his parents' home before daring to eat them. Finally, with the oak fruit in his grip, he asked, "Ready, Kurama?" "Of course, go on, eat it," the fox rumbled, barely hiding his amusement. Naruto bit down and gagged. That's disgusting. Why does it taste so, oi, Kurama?" "Stop laughing," the fox's booming laughter echoed. You should have seen your face, brat. Priceless. Scowling, Naruto forced himself to swallow the rest. Fine, it's down. Now what? Try calling out that ability room, like the book mentioned. Naruto nodded and focused. Room, a faint blue sphere flickered in his palm. That's it, Kurama confirmed. With training, you'll expand it. Now time for the next fruit. Don't worry, I'll keep you alive. Grimacing, Naruto quickly devoured the second fruit, letting Kurama's chakra ease the pain that racked his body. When the fox told him to eat the third, Naruto didn't hesitate, only to collapse into unconsciousness. Inside the seal, Kurama worked tirelessly, channeling his power to stabilize the boy. As he did, he discovered something unusual buried in Naruto's DNA. Strange, Kushina was pure Uzumaki, but Minato an orphan. Could it be? So the brat carries a hidden bloodline after all. This kid really is something. Kurama smirked and began adjusting Naruto's body further, unlocking what had long been dormant. Hours later, Naruto stirred awake. Kurama, I'm alive, thank you. You're the best, he said with pure childish joy, making even the mighty fox pause in surprise. Don't thank me yet, brat. You still have one more ability to test. Try that smoke fruit. Naruto raised his hand, and instead of being covered in smoke, it became smoke. His eyes widened in amazement. Kurama, look at this, it's awesome, Kurama chuckled. Make a clone, have it throw a kunai at you. Don't dodge, but I'll get hurt. Trust me, you won't. Naruto obeyed, gasping as the kunai passed harmlessly through his smoky body. This is amazing, he whispered. Kurama's eyes gleamed. Now your real training begins. You'll spend the next 5 to 6 years here mastering everything. Tell me, brat, will you become the white hunter like that marine officer, or the surgeon of death like Law? Naruto grinned. Surgeon of death sounds way cooler. Then it's settled. Training starts now. Oh, and one more thing, your bloodline, it came from your father's side. My bloodline? Naruto's eyes sparkled with excitement. Yes, congratulations, brat. You've awakened the wood release, the same power the first Hokage once held. Kurama turned, only to see Naruto's eyes roll back as he fainted from the shock. Hokage Tower Hiruzen Sarutobi, the third Hokage, stood by the wide window of his office, gazing down at the village below. Konoha had seen better days. For the past couple of years, it had been under constant assault by a new enemy, Orochimaru's village hidden in the Sound. As if that wasn't enough, Iwa had aligned with him, and rumors suggested Kumo was preparing to do the same. Even with Suna as an ally, things looked grim. Too many shinobi were returning from missions broken, some clinging to life, others never making it back. Tsunade had returned 2 years ago to run the hospital, but despite her brilliance, there simply weren't enough skilled medics. The less experienced ones were overwhelmed, and no matter how hard they worked, countless shinobi died or slipped into comas. Hiruzen couldn't help but regret the decision he'd made decades ago when he dismissed her dream of establishing a medical corps. That choice weighed heavily on him now, but what haunted him most was Naruto. It had been 10 years since the boy vanished, and part of Hiruzen feared the worst, that he was long gone. Not a single word had reached the village about Minato's son. The old Hokage regretted not protecting the boy better, not being there when it mattered most. The ANBU had reported that Naruto had escaped using shadow clones, scattering and misleading them again and again until nothing. He disappeared completely. Hiruzen wasn't sure what stung more, whether he should reprimand his ANBU for being outmaneuvered by a 4-year-old, or feel proud that Naruto, whom he thought of as a grandson, had managed such a daring escape. Jiraiya, however, had taken it harder than anyone. His godson's disappearance had stripped the joy even from his bad habits. He barely bothered with his usual research anymore. Nearly all his time was consumed by the search for Naruto, and still he returned empty-handed. A knock pulled Hiruzen from his thoughts. "Enter," he said. His old teammates, Hamura and Koharu, stepped into the office. These two had changed since Naruto's departure. When they'd read the letter he left behind, their hardened hearts had softened. For once, they regretted the part they'd played in empowering the civilian council and undermining their teammate. Since then, they had begun siding with Hiruzen more often, even standing against Danzo when needed. Somehow, Naruto's absence had forced them to look at the village with clearer eyes, and they didn't like what they saw. "Hiruzen, how are you holding up? You need to take better care of yourself, Koharu said softly. If you keep pushing, the poison will claim your life sooner, Himura added gravely. Only a week earlier, Hiruzen had faced Orochimaru in battle. Though he nearly killed his wayward student, the fight left him with grievous injuries. The poison coursing through his veins was relentless. Tsunade had managed to slow its spread, but even she couldn't stop it completely. Hiruzen knew, just as everyone else did, he had perhaps a month left. Not until I find him, Hiruzen replied, his voice firm despite his frail body. Naruto will return, and I'll see that this village honors his father's wish. Konoha will recognize him as a hero. His eyes hardened. Until then, I can't rest. And besides, we can't afford to. The war isn't turning in our favor, and if Kumo joins, things will only get worse. Kiri is wrapped up in civil strife for now, but who knows how long that will last. Has Jirya had any luck finding help? Koharu asked. Not quite, Himura answered before Hiruzen could. We don't need another fighter. What we desperately need is a medic of Tsunade's caliber. If we can save more of our shinobi instead of losing them, we might be able to turn this around. Before they could continue, an ANBU knelt inside the office. Hokage-sama, the council is assembled. Hiruzen gave a weary nod. We'll be there shortly. The civilians again, no doubt they'll be clamoring over matters they don't understand, Koharu muttered bitterly. Hiruzen chuckled, and the three made their way to the council chamber. Council room, the chamber was filled with the usual faces, the clan heads representing the Shinobi Council, and the loud civilian representatives who ran the village's major businesses. Danzo was there too, seated calmly, as everyone waited for the Hokage and his advisors to arrive. I see you're all present, Hiruzen said as he entered with Himura and Koharu. They took their seats. Why has this meeting been called? Hokage-sama, one of the civilians spoke immediately. Our shinobi are either dying on the front lines or coming back gravely injured. We must act quickly or Konoha will fall, Danzo scoffed. This wouldn't be happening if our Jinchuriki hadn't abandoned us. You should have listened when I told you to hand him over, Hiruzen. Watch your tongue, Danzo. It's Hokage-sama, Himura started, but the doors slammed open, cutting him off. Interrupting a council meeting is forbidden, Councilwoman Haruno snapped. Shut your mouth, the intruder barked, breathless. All eyes turned as the black-haired woman strode in. Shizune, Hiruzen asked, surprised. She was usually the picture of courtesy. What's wrong? Hokage-sama, you have to act quickly. Tsunade-sama, she collapsed. Her chakra is drained, she's fallen into a coma, Shizune exclaimed, panic lacing her voice. The entire chamber erupted in shock. What? A voice shouted from the shadows. Jirya stepped forward, his expression stricken. She's alive, Shizune explained quickly, but we don't know when she'll wake. The hospital is in chaos. We've lost half our medic nin to the front lines and the rest can't handle the workload alone. This is disastrous, Inoichi said grimly. Without Tsunade, casualties will skyrocket. We can't throw Genin into this either, Choza added heavily. My son only became a Genin 2 weeks ago, he's nowhere near ready. Sensei, Jirya said suddenly, I may have found something. Do you remember the one they call the White Hunter? The room fell silent. The White Hunter was infamous, a bounty hunter who used terrifyingly unfamiliar techniques. Yes, what about him? Shikaku asked warily. He goes by another name as well, Jirya revealed. The Surgeon of Death. The shock was palpable. The Surgeon of Death was a wandering healer, beloved by the poor. His skills were called miraculous, his compassion unmatched. You're saying they're the same man? Tsume demanded, disbelief in her voice. Exactly, Jirya confirmed. I haven't been able to track him down yet, but if I can, Konoha might just have a chance. That may not be so simple, Mikoto Uchiha spoke up, her calm voice cutting through the murmurs. What do you mean? He should be honored to serve one of the strongest villages in the world, Haruno screeched. Mikoto fixed her with a glare so sharp the woman shrank back. Because he despises Konoha. The chamber grew tense. What are you saying, Uchiha Dono? Did the village wrong him somehow? Hayashi asked carefully. Koharu leaned forward. Mikoto, do you know him personally? He carries many titles. Some call him the Surgeon of Death, others the White Hunter. Some whisper of him as the Miracle Worker or even a blessing from the heavens. But beneath all those names, he's just a boy no older than the new graduating class. A boy who has tasted the cruelty of life far too young. a boy who was forced to bear a weight he never chose. Yet, despite everything, the scorn, the hardships, the hatred, he shines as brightly as the sun. His kindness, his generosity, his heart, all reflect the selflessness of his parents. Her smile was soft as she spoke, but with each word, Hiruzen's expression grew paler. What she said next confirmed his fears. "He's my godson." "Why your godson?" Choza stammered, eyes wide in disbelief. Around the room, others reacted the same way, though both Shikaku and the Hokage's pale faces revealed they already knew more than they let on. "Shikaku, you recognize him, don't you?" Inoichi pressed, narrowing his eyes. "Troublesome," Shikaku muttered, hiding his face in his hands. How long have you known?" Sarutobi demanded, his voice shaking. Mikoto's glare cut through the tension like a blade. "For 5 years," she said coldly, dropping a truth that silenced the room. People glanced between the two, baffled at the hostility radiating from them both. "Why didn't you say anything?" the Hokage shouted. "Don't you dare start with me," she snapped back, standing with fury flashing in her eyes. "I warned you. I told you what would happen if nothing was done, but you ignored me. I didn't even know he had left until I found his letter. By then, it was too late. He abandoned this village because of its people's ignorance, and you did nothing to stop it." Her voice echoed like a whip. The Shinobi Council began piecing it together, while the civilians sat in uneasy silence. "At least now, when I face his parents again, I can tell them that their son is living happily away from this place, the very village they gave their lives for. A village that spat on their sacrifice." "Why you can't mean," Jirya muttered, disbelief written across his face. "Why didn't you? Shut your mouth, you shameless fool," Mikoto snapped. "I did everything I could for my godson. Don't even start lecturing me about your spy network. We all know you slink back every couple of months, but somehow spying on women bathing takes priority over him." "That's a low blow, Mikoto," Jirya growled. "Oh really? Then tell me, why didn't you help him?" she asked sharply, forcing him to lower his head. "It hurt. He looked so much like him," Jirya whispered brokenly, "and it was unbearable." The others were stunned at his admission, but Mikoto's gaze held no pity. "And did you realize he was just like Kushina inside? He might have looked like his father, but his spirit was hers completely. He even had her silly verbal tick." Her voice softened for a moment. "It hurt me too, Jirya. But I'd rather endure that pain than watch my best friend's child beaten every day without even knowing the reason why." "Are you talking about the Jinchuriki?" Danzo's cold voice cut in. "He has a name, Shimura," Mikoto hissed. "Ah no," Shizune hesitated, drawing attention back to her. Everyone had nearly forgotten she was present. "Do you mean Naruto?" "You've met him?" Himura asked curiously. "Why are we even discussing that demon?" One civilian scoffed. "We don't need him," another shouted. "Enough of this nonsense," Mikoto roared. "We're in the middle of a war and you're squabbling like children. Why the civilians are even sitting in a war council baffles me. The first sign of blood and you'd scatter like frightened chickens." Her words drew laughter from the shinobi side, while the civilians seethed. "Well then, Shizune," Sarutobi pressed. "Yes, he actually traveled with us for 2 years before we came back to Konoha. Lady Tsunade was heartbroken when her grandson left, but he refused to return," Shizune explained softly. "Her grandson?" Shibaya Burame asked in surprise. "Yes, Naruto's father was Tsunade-sama's secret son. She kept it hidden to protect him from those who might try to exploit him," she explained as though it were common knowledge. "His father?" Tsume's voice cracked with confusion. "You mean none of you know who Naruto's father is?" Shizune blinked in disbelief. "We're losing focus," Sarutobi interrupted sharply, unwilling to let the boy's heritage spill further. "The real question, can we rely on him to help us?" Mikoto shrugged. "Maybe, maybe not." "I'll find him," Jirya said earnestly. "Tell me where he was last seen." "Please, I need to apologize." Mikoto sighed, pity flickering in her gaze. "He rarely tells me where he is, only what he's been doing. But if I had to guess, he mentioned heading near Kiri to lend aid in a conflict. That was just yesterday. If you leave now, you may still catch him." "Then I'll go immediately," Jirya said, determination flashing in his eyes. "We'll send ANBU with you," Koharu added. "I'm coming as well," Hiruzen announced, standing. The statement shocked the council. "You can't, you're the Hokage," Danzo protested. "I am the Hokage," Hiruzen barked, "and I decide my own actions." Then let's bring him back, Jirya declared, fire burning in his voice. I pray you're safe, Naruto, Hiruzen thought grimly. At the fire-water border, and there, that should be enough. Make sure she rests for at least a week and she'll recover fine, a blonde boy said gently to a relieved family. Thank you so much for saving my wife, the father cried, holding her tightly. Yes, thank you for healing her, their daughter sobbed gratefully. Is there anything we can do for you? The man asked, voice trembling with emotion. Naruto shook his head with a small smile. No, just take care of each other, that's all I ask. At least tell us your name, the mother requested softly. He tipped his hat with a faint grin. People call me the Surgeon of Death. With that, he walked away. For the last decade, Naruto had built a life far away from the village. After isolating himself for 5 years to complete his training, he set out at 9 years old to experience the wider world. That journey eventually led him to Tsunade Senju, his grandmother, though he hadn't known it at first. Kurama had revealed the truth. His parents had hidden pieces of their chakra within his seal, and through it, he learned of his lineage. They were furious at Konoha for its betrayal, but proud of Naruto for refusing vengeance. Still, they worried constantly for the little boy wandering alone. Naruto confessed his dream of becoming a healer for those who couldn't afford one, and his parents' chakra remnants encouraged him. To support himself, he created dual identities. As the White Hunter, he wore a white coat emblazoned with the title in bold black letters. As the Surgeon of Death, he donned a black coat marked in blazing crimson, honoring both his mother's fiery hair and his father's legacy. He even found an old spotted hat once belonging to Law in a hidden base, which became part of his attire. Minato had explained how Tsunade concealed her own son, pretending he was an orphan, to shield him from being exploited for wood release. Though the ability had skipped generations, Kurama eventually helped Naruto unlock it. 4 years earlier, he finally met Tsunade, and her mixture of joy and rage at discovering a grandson was overwhelming. She had known nothing of his existence and poured herself into teaching him precise chakra control. Under her brutal training, his control became nearly flawless. They parted 2 years ago when Jirya sought her out for the ongoing war. She begged Naruto to return with her, but he refused. He wasn't ready to face Konoha again. Freedom still called to him, and for now, that was enough. Ah, Haru, it's been a while. You've got something for me? Naruto asked the crow as it perched on his shoulder. The bird carried a scroll, and when Naruto unrolled it, he recognized his godmother Mikoto Uchiha's handwriting. The message made his chest tighten. She explained what had gone down in the council, and his heart nearly froze when he read that his grandmother had fallen into a coma. The note also said that the Hokage himself was on the way to see him. Damn it, what am I supposed to do now? Naruto muttered under his breath. Maybe it's time, kid, Kurama's deep voice rumbled from within. Time to face those ghosts you've been running from. Time to confront your past. I don't want to go back, but if I don't, Tsunade-chan might never wake up, Naruto said, conflicted. They'll treat you differently now, Kurama assured him. I know how much you enjoy your freedom, and I don't want to see you miserable either. But it might be time to plant your feet somewhere. You're nearly 15 and still haven't even kissed a girl. The fox chuckled at his own jab. You think I should really go back? Naruto asked after a long pause. Kurama wasn't the type to guide him toward pain unless it mattered. If even the fox believed it was time, then maybe it was. Deep down, Naruto knew his parents wanted him back in Konoha, no matter how much they tried to hide it. Here's what you do, Kurama suggested. Make a deal with them. Let them decide if they want the healer side of you or the hunter side. After that stunt you pulled last week, there's no doubt someone like Jirya put the pieces together. If it doesn't work out, you can leave. Simple as that. And don't forget, your godmother worries about you more than you think. She cares, even if her letters come with a side of yelling. Yeah, you're right, Naruto finally said with a small nod. But I'll wait until they actually show up here. Shouldn't take long. With that, he headed back to his hotel room, exhausted and ready to rest. Near the fire-water border, the Konoha party pressed forward. Jirya of the Sannin, the third Hokage Hiruzen Sarutobi, several clan heads, Tsume Inuzuka leading the trackers, Hayashi Hyuga, plus Anbu hidden in the shadows. The trek had taken them 3 days, and they could only hope Naruto was still nearby. He was last spotted at a hotel, Sensei, We should hurry, Jirya said, stepping out of a shabby little shop that doubled as an intel stop in his spy network. Then let's move, Hiruzen ordered. The town bore scars of past battles, rebels and loyalists alike having torn it apart. The hotel wasn't much, but it was enough for shelter. Excuse me, Jirya asked at the front desk. We're searching for a boy. Blonde hair, blue eyes, 3 whisker-like marks on his cheeks. Oh, that one, the receptionist said with a dreamy look. Polite boy, handsome too. Showed up a few days ago and even healed people no doctor could save. You're not here to bother him, are you? Her tone sharpened suddenly. Of course not, Jirya reassured. I'm his godfather and this here is his grandfather. He gestured toward Hiruzen, whose face had gone pale. We've been looking for him for a long time. Could you tell us his room? Family, huh, she said softly. That boy deserves some happiness. After flipping through her papers, she nodded. Room 306, hasn't left today, so he should be there. They thanked her and made their way upstairs. He sounds like a good kid, Tsum remarked. He is, Hiruzen replied quietly. And I'm grateful he's still got kindness left in him after everything the village put him through. I only pray he's willing to help us. His words struck guilt in Tsum and Hayashi, who had never raised a hand against Naruto, but also never stood up for him. Jirya wasn't guilt-free either, being the boy's godfather who hadn't been around. At the door marked 306, they exchanged glances before Hiruzen knocked. Shuffling came from inside. Oi, I told you guys, you don't need to keep bringing me stuff. The door swung open, and every single one of them froze. Minato, the boy before them, had wild blonde hair brushing the back of his neck, piercing blue eyes and faded whisker marks. A black coat with flame patterns draped his shoulders, a white hat in one hand, a sword in the other. His gaze landed on Hiruzen, eyes widening in shock. Jai-chan, Naruto stammered before collapsing backward in surprise, sending the group into quiet laughter. He'd known they were coming, but he hadn't expected them right that second. Too many strangers had been knocking on his door all day, and he'd just been about to complain to the receptionist. Hello, Naruto. It's good to see you again, Hiruzen said with a warm smile. May we come in? The boy nodded quickly. Sorry, old man. The receptionist keeps telling people where I am, and they keep dropping off gifts, Naruto exclaimed, pointing to a ridiculous pile in the corner. So, what did you all come here for? To everyone's shock, Hiruzen suddenly dropped to his knees and bowed low. I failed you, the old Hokage said hoarsely. I failed to stop the village from mistreating you. Because of my weakness, you suffered things no child should endure. For that, I beg your forgiveness. Minato and Kushina would be ashamed of Konoha's actions. His shoulders shook slightly, though he tried to hide the tears. Naruto's eyes went wide. Even the others and the ANBU concealed nearby hadn't expected to see the Hokage on the ground like this. Oi, Jai-chan, a Hokage isn't supposed to be groveling like that, Naruto said quickly, trying to pull him up. But the old man wouldn't move. Look, I told you before, I don't hate you. I meant it. I get it, your position, your burden. Let's just blame the civilian council and the idiots who followed them, yeah. Naruto smiled faintly, finally managing to get the elder to stand again. Thank you, really, thank you, Naruto said softly as the elderly man pulled him into a hug, which he quickly returned. Deep down, he couldn't deny how much it meant to see the old man again. But I know you didn't just come all this way for, oi, what the hell? Naruto suddenly shouted as the Hokage collapsed in front of him. Sensei, damn it, Jirya cursed, rushing over. He forced himself too much, he muttered. What's happening? What's wrong with him? Naruto demanded, panic rising in his voice. Hayashi stepped forward, his face grim. The Hokage faced Orochimaru in battle and was struck with poison. Tsunade managed to remove most of it, but he won't last long. We didn't think the end would come this soon, Tsum added quietly. Stand back, all of you, Naruto ordered firmly. Jirya blinked in shock. What are you planning to do? Naruto's expression hardened, his blue eyes sharp. I'm a doctor. My grandmother always said I surpassed her in this field. If you want him alive, move aside. Hesitantly, Jirya laid Hiruzen down. Fine, but you better know what you're doing, kid. Room, Naruto declared, ignoring the Sannin completely. A glowing blue sphere expanded around them. Scan! With his blade in hand, Naruto identified the areas still infected. He could remove them. It would take time, but it was possible. Without hesitation, he began. The others stared in disbelief as Naruto cut into the Hokage with clinical precision. Their protests erupted, but Naruto roared, "Shut up. One distraction and I could lose him." The uncharacteristically harsh tones silenced them instantly. Normally cheerful, Naruto's personality flipped when lives hung in the balance. 20 tense minutes later, after carefully extracting every trace of poison and stitching him together again, Hiruzen stirred mid-surgery. His breathing steadied, his color returning. "Sensei, how do you feel?" Jiraiya asked cautiously. Hiruzen sat up slowly. "Better, almost normal again." The group stared at Naruto in stunned silence. What they had just witnessed bordered on miraculous. If he ever returned to the village, Konoha's future would change forever. "I'll need a blood donor," Naruto said matter-of-factly. Hiruzen frowned. "Why would you? Just give me an arm already," Naruto sighed. Jiraiya extended his without hesitation. Naruto pressed his hand to the arm, conjured a dandelion, and plucked its yellow bloom. He placed it against Hiruzen's chest, then drew intricate seals before whispering, "Seal." Normally, the powers of the heal fruit weren't permanent, but with the seal he crafted, they would be. "What did you just do?" "I've never seen anything like that," Tsume asked, eyes wide. Naruto shrugged while cleaning up. "When you spend your life running from angry mobs, you figure out some interesting tricks," he muttered, earning winces from the older shinobi. "What do you mean by that?" Jiraiya pressed. Naruto's gaze turned icy. "I don't owe you an answer, Jiraiya." His tone was sharp. "Honestly, I'm surprised you're even helping in this war. Don't you usually have something more perverted to do?" The remark hit like a kunai. Jiraiya froze, eyes wide. Hiruzen stiffened. "He knows," both thought at once. Now, no need to be so harsh." Tsume tried to ease the tension, clearly confused by his hostility. Hayashi, however, silently pieced things together. Naruto sneered. "I have every right to despise his disgusting face. Why are you even here? Is it only because I suddenly became useful to you?" Jiraiya looked away in shame, and Naruto's lips curled. "What's the matter? This isn't the heartwarming reunion you imagined, Godfather," Tsume gasped. "Godfather?" Hiruzen quickly stepped in, his voice calm. "Naruto, I know you feel hurt, but Jiraiya truly wanted to care for you. His spy network." "Save it," Naruto cut him off coldly. "Did he not return to the village from time to time? Couldn't he have spared a single moment to tell me who he was?" His words made Jiraiya avert his eyes. Naruto scoffed. "That's what I thought," he sighed, softening slightly. "The only reason I forgave my grandmother was because she never even knew I existed. She was away on a year-long mission, cut off from communication. By the time she returned, she was told my father died during the Kyuubi attack, so she never came back." Jiraiya bowed his head. I'm sorry, I know I failed you. No excuse will ever make it right, but please give me another chance." Silence stretched. Finally, Naruto exhaled. "I'm not cruel despite everything. Fine, I'll give you a chance. But don't expect me to see you as my godfather. At best, maybe a friend." He gave a mocking salute. "Name's Naruto, nice to meet you." Relief washed over Jiraiya. "Jiraiya, the Toad Sage," he replied simply. Hayashi cleared his throat, steering them back. "Enough time has been wasted. We came here for another reason." "You want me to join your war?" Naruto said flatly. Hiruzen nodded. "Yes. You're the White Hunter and the Surgeon of Death, though we only realized it was you when Mikoto confirmed it." Naruto chuckled. "I don't really see myself helping Konoha." "Kinda funny, Databeo." He noticed their pained expressions and sighed. "Honestly, I like my life here, but Kurama keeps telling me I should settle down." "Kurama?" Jiraiya blinked. "Yeah. You know him as the nine-tailed fox." Naruto's casual words shocked the group. "You trust that monster?" Hayashi blurted. A deep growl echoed inside Naruto's mind. "Hey, watch your mouth," Naruto smirked. "Funny. I think Konoha's more of a monster than he ever was. And yes, I trust him with my life. He was controlled that night, forced out of Mom's seal by a masked man." "A masked man?" Hiruzen asked sharply. "Yeah. He called himself Madara Uchiha. Dad knew it was him. Kurama confirmed it too. He was controlled during the Valley of the End fight with Hashirama. If anyone knows, it's him." The revelation left everyone shaken. Naruto stood, wiping his hands. "Here's my offer, I'll work under contract. If I don't like the village when it's done, I leave. If I do, I'll stay. Fair." "Fair enough," Hiruzen agreed with a small smile. "Thank you. One more thing," Naruto said firmly. I don't kill, ever. Then how do you claim bounties? Hayashi asked. They pay for dead or alive. I bring them in alive. I'm a doctor first, I save lives, not take them. The elders exchanged thoughtful nods. Then we should return, Sensei, Jirya said quietly. I'll head back, Hiruzen replied. Naruto shook his head. Not yet. I still have people here to treat. I'll come to Konoha in a week. The Hawkage's lips curved into a trusting smile. I believe you, I'll wait. But Hawkage-sama, Tsume began. Hiruzen silenced her with a raised hand. I trust him. He will come. Naruto gave a small nod of appreciation. Uchiha compound Itachi returned home from patrol to find his mother in the living room, a letter in hand, and a rare brightness on her face. She only looked this happy when one thing, or rather, one person, was involved. Naruto. Though he'd never met him, Itachi respected the boy who carried the burden of the Nine Tails and pitied the life he had endured. He knew his mother exchanged letters with Naruto often, and seeing her expression now, Itachi felt relieved. At least someone cared enough to write to her. Ah, Itachi. You're back, Mikoto beamed, lifting her gaze from the letter to her son. Hi, I'm back from patrol, he said with a faint smile. That's good to hear. Your bath's ready and dinner will be done soon, so go wash up first, she replied warmly. He nodded, leaning down to kiss his mother's cheek before heading off. Itachi couldn't help but feel grateful for her. Years earlier, when the clan was preparing a coup, his father had forced him to act as a spy. Only the Uchiha elders knew of the plan, and Fugaku had hidden it from Mikoto, knowing she'd stand against it. Itachi had confided in the Hawkage, who told him to continue gathering information. But his mother eventually noticed something was wrong. It wasn't surprising. She had once been famous across the elemental nations as Konoha's Sharingan mistress, alongside her closest friends, Kushina Uzumaki and Hitomi Hyuga. Though she retired after his birth, she hadn't lost her sharp instincts. When she confronted him, Itachi couldn't lie. He confessed everything. To his surprise, she took matters into her own hands. For 6 months, she trained fiercely until her skills returned to their peak, and even without her Sharingan, her strength exceeded his. Very few women ever awakened those eyes, but she was one of them. After her training, she marched into a clan council meeting and challenged Fugaku for the title of clan head. Everyone expected her to fail, yet she defeated him and then exposed the coup. The elders were furious with Itachi, but he didn't care. His mother had saved him. The majority of the clan was against the coup anyway, and while the traitors were spared execution, they were kept under strict watch. Together, mother and son explained everything to the Hawkage, and she offered a heartfelt apology. The Sandaime had only smiled in relief. Life at home changed as well. Fugaku remained in the house, though his pride never recovered after being humiliated by his wife. Surprisingly, Sasuke admired Mikoto for her strength instead of resenting her. He declared he wanted to marry someone like her one day, not become like their father. Around that same time, Mikoto gave birth to Satsuki, who was now 7 years old. Under Mikoto's leadership, the Uchiha flourished, regaining the respect and honor they had once lost in the village's eyes. She also apologized to Itachi for not supporting him enough during his childhood and insisted he leave ANBU to become a normal jonin. ANBU had always been his father's decision, never his. With his mother's blessing to live freely, Itachi finally felt at peace. Oh, Itachi, we'll be having a guest stay over soon, Mikoto said casually over her shoulder. Itachi raised an eyebrow, wondering if Naruto was involved somehow, but shrugged it off and went to wash up. 3 days later, at the ever-open gates of Konoha, a lone traveler approached. He wore a long black coat trimmed with crimson flames at the bottom, the words, Surgeon of Death, stitched across it. A spotted white cap sat atop his head, a sword slung casually at his side. His outfit was simple, loose black trousers, sturdy boots, and a plain white shirt. The guards stiffened at his presence. Halt! State your business, one demanded. The stranger's cold, piercing blue eyes froze them in place. Without a word, he handed over a scroll. They checked it, then reluctantly allowed him through, though protocol demanded he record his name. As soon as he left, one guard muttered, Man, he looks young, but those eyes, they gave me chills. Forget the eyes, the other replied nervously. Did you notice the coat, and those markings, same as the 4th Hawkage? The first guard frowned, then noticed his partner had gone pale. What's with you? His partner dropped the logbook in shock. Look at the name he wrote. The first guard picked it up and felt his stomach sink. Naruto, isn't that the demon vessel who disappeared years ago? Read the last name, idiot. His eyes widened as he saw the full name written clearly. Naruto Namikaze. Konoha. The two exchanged horrified looks. Konoha really screwed up this time, one whispered. Naruto walked straight through the village, heading toward the Hawkage Tower. The streets were lined with signs of reconstruction, the mood heavy and somber. Some villagers stared at him with suspicion, others with fear, but he ignored them all. Passing a familiar flower shop, he decided to stop. "Welcome to Yamanaka Flowers. How can I help you today?" chirped a blonde girl from behind the counter. "I'd like some flowers," Naruto replied with a small smile. "Of course. Let me know if you need help picking any." She watched as he selected yellow and red blossoms, then brought them to the counter. "How much for these?" he asked. The girl tilted her head. "Sorry if this sounds nosy, but are you new around here?" Naruto nodded. "I just returned. These are for my parents." Her smile widened. "Oh, they must be so happy you're back." He shook his head gently. "No, they passed away. I left the village 10 years ago. I'm going to visit their graves first." Removing his cap, he placed it on the counter alongside his sword. The girl stammered, embarrassed. "I am so sorry, I didn't mean." But her words faltered when she got a good look at his face, a blush coloring her cheeks. "It's fine," Naruto said softly. "I chose these flowers because my mother had red hair and my father was blonde. People often said I looked just like him." "I see," she murmured, arranging the bouquet. "You're a shinobi, right? That sword gives it away." "Hi, though I'm more of a doctor than a fighter these days. What about you? Are you a shinobi?" "Yup. Just became a genin 2 weeks ago. But we're stuck with all these lame D-rank missions," she complained, making him chuckle. "I guess you'll be part of the new Ino Shikacho trio then," he teased, making her eyes widen. How did you know?" "Everyone knows about their teamwork. And if I'm not mistaken, your father is the Ino of the current team, right? It's said to be the strongest formation yet. Quite a legacy to live up to," she pouted. "Yeah, as heiress, I'm stuck with a lazy Nara and a foodie Akimichi." Naruto smirked. "Then find ways to motivate them. Challenge the Nara boy to train, and if he slacks, take away what he hates most. I heard the women in his clan are considered troublesome by the men after all." She laughed, catching on. "That might work, and I can bribe Choji with snacks later. Thanks for the tip." With that, she finished wrapping his flowers and handed them over. "Happy to help," he replied with a small bow. "So, what kind of training do they put you through in the academy here?" "If I had stayed in Konoha, I'd be graduating about now. Honestly, I'm kind of glad I didn't." "Why's that?" she asked, curiosity flickering in her eyes. "Because most villages paint this perfect picture of what it means to be a shinobi, but the truth is a lot darker. Being a ninja is bloody, cruel, filled with murderers, slavers, and worse. The world's crawling with people who do terrible things, and then there are those who get dragged into it without ever having a choice. Like the bloodline purges that happened in Kiri," he said with a low whistle, not noticing how pale she suddenly looked. "Be bloodline purges," she whispered, her voice trembling. "My bad. I keep forgetting how sheltered people in Konoha are," he admitted. "No, please tell me more," she said, determination burning in her eyes. Her entire life had been spent chasing shallow dreams, but the more she heard about the truth of the shinobi world, the more she realized that if she wanted to survive, she'd have to work hard and train for real. "Thanks for telling me. I never realized a shinobi's life was like that," she admitted quietly. "It's fine. Like I said, folks here live in a bubble. That's good in some ways, but also dangerous in others." She nodded, agreeing. "All right, that'll be 50 Ryo, but forget it. Consider it on the house for your honesty. Since you're still new here, maybe I could show you around if you'd like," she offered with a smile. "Thanks, but I'll manage. I'll ask if I get lost, though," he said, taking the flowers from her. "Oh, I'm Ino Yamanaka, by the way," she called out as he turned to leave. He adjusted his hat, gave her a small tip of it, and said, "Pleasure to meet you, Ino. I'm Naruto Namikaze." Then he left the shop. Once he was gone, Ino's face lit up bright red as she squealed, "He's so hot." "Ino, who are you talking about?" Her father's voice came from behind, making her jump. This new boy, he just arrived in the village. He's really kind and actually fun to talk to." Way better than Sasuke, kinder too. Honestly, I don't even know what I ever saw in Sasuke, she admitted. Daddy, I don't like Sasuke anymore. What? Inoichi nearly choked. His daughter, the same girl who never stopped bragging about Sasuke and even declared she'd marry him one day, was giving him up after one meeting with another boy. Inoichi almost wanted to find this Naruto kid and hand him the world on a platter. Oh, and Daddy, can you start helping me with our clan techniques? I want to get stronger, stronger than you even. I'll rope Shikamaru and Choji into it too. Together, we'll make the best Ino Shikacho team ever, she declared with fierce determination. Inoichi's jaw nearly hit the floor. Where is this coming from, Ino? You were never this serious about training before, he asked, half worried she was possessed. I'm a shinobi now, Daddy. I need to be strong. And that boy told me the Ino Shikacho teams are famous for their teamwork. He said you, Uncle Choza, and Uncle Shikaku were the strongest team yet. I won't settle for being second best. As your daughter, I've got a reputation to protect, she announced, setting down her apron. Oh, and could you watch the store? I'm going to see Aunt Yoshino. Why? He asked, bewildered. So she can help me whip Shikamaru into shape, obviously. I'll just bribe Choji with food after training sessions. Easy enough, she grinned before skipping out the door. Wait, Ino, Inoichi shouted, making her stop at the entrance. Who is this boy? Did you catch his name? Yeah, he said his name's Naruto Namikaze. The name sounds familiar, but I can't place it. Anyway, see you later, Daddy. And with that, she was gone, leaving her stunned father behind. Coming down the stairs, Rika Yamanaka gave her husband a confused look. Inoichi. What's wrong with you? Still dazed, he looked at her and muttered, The fourth Hokage son really is a miracle worker. Hokage's office knock came at the door before Naruto stepped inside, greeted by the sight of the old Hokage looking healthier than ever, along with Jiraiya, a bandaged man, and two aging counselors. Hey, old man, came just like I promised, Naruto said casually before bowing politely to the others. Nice to meet you all, I'm Naruto Namikaze. Koharu and Himura smiled approvingly at his manners, while Danzo scowled, bitter over losing the chance to shape him into a weapon. Did you have a good trip? Hiruzen asked warmly. Yeah, I stopped by the flower shop then visited the graves, Naruto replied. I understand, Hiruzen said quietly, knowing exactly whose graves. Now about the contract, he said, pulling out some papers. First off, thank you for agreeing to help us. We'd understand if you declined, it's your right, Himura said sincerely. We're grateful you chose to put the past behind you and return. We hope your stay here is a good one, Koharu added. Thanks. Honestly, I don't want much from this. Just my inheritance and a team of people I can actually work with. Maybe when the war's over we can sort out some fair payment, Naruto said with a shrug. The elders blinked in surprise. That's it, Danzo barked. Yeah, what did you expect, outrageous demands? I know the village can't afford much right now. Besides, I'm pretty sure my inheritance hasn't been touched, Naruto replied. The elders exchanged looks of admiration. They had half expected him to demand absurd wealth or privileges, but instead, he was straightforward, humble, and practical, just like his parents had been. Thank you, Naruto, you're right. The recent attacks have strained our budget, Koharu said with relief. Still, let me make this clear, I don't kill people, I'm a healer first. My job is to save lives, not take them, Naruto stated firmly. Understandable. We need your medical skills more than anything. After curing Lord Hiruzen, your reputation has spread far, Himura replied. This is outrageous, Danzo suddenly snapped. You're a Jinchuriki. You're supposed to be a weapon tools exist to kill, Naruto raised an eyebrow at the furious man. Last time I checked, you're not Hokage, the old man is, and what I do with my life isn't your business. You insolent brat. That's enough, Danzo, Jiraiya cut in firmly. We should head to the council chamber now. Everyone's waiting on our decision. Fine by me, Naruto said with a grin. Come on, Jai-chan, do the civilian council still give you a headache? Sigh all the time, Hiruzen admitted. Troublesome, right? Jiraiya smirked, earning a laugh from Naruto before he suddenly froze mid-step with a sharp cry. I almost forgot, he blurted out suddenly. What is it? Himura asked, tilting her head. Nothing important. I'll deal with it later. With a shrug, they continued walking. Council room inside the council chamber, the Shinobi Council sat patiently, while the civilian council made needless noise and complaints. The heavy doors opened, and in walked the Fire Daimyo alongside his wife, Lady Shijimi. "Fire Daimyo-sama, it's such an honor to have you here with us," Seiya Haruno squealed in her shrill tone. "And what brings you here today, Daimyo-sama?" Hayashi Hyuga asked, his voice calm but curious. "I was told Hiruzen had left the village. Has he returned?" the daimyo questioned. "I have, Daimyo-sama," Hiruzen's voice came from behind. He entered with a group of 6 at his side. Among them was Naruto, face shadowed under a hat, hiding his hair. The shinobi side recognized him immediately, but the civilians remained clueless. "Hokage-sama, who is this boy? Why bring a child to an important meeting?" one civilian demanded loudly. "Have you no manners? Lower your voice," the daimyo scolded sharply, silencing them. His eyes landed on Naruto, who met his gaze. The two broke into matching smiles. "It's good to see you again, Oji-sama, and you too, Shijimi Oba-sama," Naruto greeted casually, shocking the room with his familiar tone. "En Naruto," Hiruzen started, ready to scold him, but the daimyo only laughed as his wife rushed forward and wrapped Naruto in a tight embrace. "It's been far too long, dear boy," she said warmly, squeezing him. "Shijimi, careful, you're suffocating him," her husband chuckled, pointing at Naruto, who looked a little blue. She quickly released him, but the smile stayed on her face. "But it's true, you don't visit anymore. It's been far too long." The daimyo hugged Naruto as well, though less fiercely. Everyone in the room could only stare in disbelief. "Sorry, there were constant attacks near the borders, mostly refugees fleeing from the wars in Kiri. Many were wounded, so I was occupied," Naruto admitted sheepishly. "You did well. Helping them speaks of your character," the daimyo said, ruffling the boy's hair. "What in the world is happening here?" Jiraiya finally blurted, baffled. "Oh, it's simple really," the daimyo replied calmly. "This boy once saved my life when I was gravely injured. Since then, we've stayed in touch. The names he calls us are affectionate but respectful, we don't mind." "I'll be off to find Tora then," Shijimi said cheerfully, giving Naruto one last squeeze. "Stay safe, Naruto-kun, all right?" Naruto raised an eyebrow after she left. "That cat is still alive. Sadly, no genin team has managed to deal with it," the daimyo sighed. Naruto groaned. "One day, Oji-sama. One day. Now then," the daimyo said, turning serious, "I assume this meeting has a purpose." "Indeed," Hiruzen nodded. "Because of the war, we've brought in additional help." "Oh, and who might that be?" Seiya screeched again. "What is wrong with her voice?" someone muttered. "If only there was a way to shut her up forever." "Tempting thought," another whispered back. "I think the young man should introduce himself," Hiruzen smirked, watching the civilians turn pale as Naruto removed his hat. "My name is Naruto Namikaze. I am heir to both the Uzumaki and Senju clans. The Hokage himself requested my help in this war. I'm here to finalize my contract." His calm words dropped like a bomb, leaving the chamber in stunned silence. "Naruto-kun," a sweet, familiar voice called out. His blood ran cold as he saw Mikoto Uchiha's warm smile. "Hey Obasan," he laughed nervously, then quickly broke into fake tears. "Please don't kill me. Oh, don't make me sound like a villain." She marched up, smacked him on the head, and then hugged him tightly. "Do you realize how worried I was? A 4-year-old vanishing from the village. What were you thinking?" "But I'm glad you're safe," she whispered, and he hugged her back. "He can't be the 4th son. That's impossible. He's lying. It's the fox tricking us." "Silence," the daimyo roared, shutting them up instantly. "Are you blind? The resemblance is obvious. And yes, he is Minato's son. Do you truly believe the Yondaime would seal the Kyuubi into someone else's child rather than his own?" "Naruto will assist us during the war," Hiruzen announced firmly. "He'll support the hospital as well, but once his contract is fulfilled, he's free to leave." "He can't leave. He's the Yondaime's heir," one civilian protested, sparking more chatter. "Bipolar much?" Naruto muttered. The shinobi side struggled to hold in their laughter. "I say we put him into the CRA," Seiya suggested smugly, clearly scheming to tie her daughter to him. Naruto's eyes narrowed. "What part of under contract don't you get? I remember you used to wish for my death, and now you want my wealth, selfish witch." Snickers spread through the room as Seiya's face turned crimson. "Oh, you wished him dead?" the daimyo asked, his tone dark. Seiya broke into nervous sweat. Naruto chuckled dryly. "You heard them earlier. The civilian councils always wanted me gone. Only a handful ever saw me differently. After reviewing the contract and gaining the daimyo's approval, the meeting was nearly over when Inoichi spoke up. Naruto, did you stop by a flower shop today? Yeah, your daughter was the one who helped me out, right? Yes, I just wanted to thank you. She's always been obsessed with a certain boy, but after speaking with you, she finally took her shinobi training seriously. I could never convince her to do that, so thank you. He bowed his head slightly. Naruto smiled faintly. I didn't do much. I only told her the reality outside the village, about bloodline purges in Kiri and how sheltered people here really are. I see, Inoichi said thoughtfully. Well, shall I escort you to the Namikaze compound? Hiruzen offered as the daimyo departed. Nope, he'll be staying with me, won't you, Naru-chan? Mikoto declared, making Naruto gulp. Why, yes, ma'am, he replied instantly. That's unfair, he should be, Seiya began, but was silenced by Mikoto's murderous glare. Ni Obasan, can we visit Ba-chan at the hospital? Naruto asked as they walked down the road together. Of course, and while we're there, I'd like you to check on a few of my clansmen. Something strange has been happening to them, she said. Naruto smiled and nodded. Sure, she replied, and together they made their way toward the hospital, drawing curious looks from villagers who wondered why someone resembling the yondaime was walking among them. Hospital, it didn't take them long to arrive. Along the way, their conversation drifted to everyday matters, like her youngest son recently becoming a genin. She admitted she wasn't fond of the academy's standards, saying the training there would have gotten most children killed if they relied only on it. Thankfully, Itachi had plenty of time to guide him now that he wasn't in ANBU. Naruto already knew about the events in her clan. She had written to him about it, and he couldn't help but feel proud of what his godmother had accomplished. When they finally stepped inside, the hospital was overflowing with injured shinobi. Naruto's gaze swept across the wounded, sympathy swelling inside him. Almost instantly, his instincts as a healer kicked in. Using his observation haki, he sensed someone on the verge of death. Naru-chan, what is it? Mikoto asked softly, noticing the change in his expression. That man over there, he'll die in a few minutes if nothing is done. His tone was firm as he pointed to a ghostly pale patient hooked up to IVs in the waiting area. Are you planning to step in? She teased, though she already knew his answer. Naruto walked toward the man without hesitation. Stay calm, everything's going to be fine, he reassured the confused patient, who managed a small nod. Room, a glowing sphere formed around them. Scan. The infected areas became visible, and Naruto immediately began his work. The nurses panicked and tried to stop him. What are you doing? You can't. Mikoto cut them off sharply. That's enough. Hokage-sama himself requested his help here. Unless you'd like to anger Tsunade-sama by interfering with her grandson. Grandson of Tsunade-sama, gasps echoed through the room. Their protests died instantly as they watched him operate. For 30 intense minutes, Naruto worked carefully, cutting and sealing, sweat running down his face. Finally, the patient, who had been on the brink of death, looked healthier than before. The surgery was a success. You just need rest now, Naruto said, wiping his brow. The man's eyes filled with gratitude. He had felt his life slipping away, and now he had another chance. Thank you so much. I don't even have the words. The man grasped Naruto's hand, shaking it over and over. It's fine. I'm a doctor, it's what I do, Naruto answered with a warm smile. Applause rang out from the staff behind him. Mikoto stood proudly and hugged him tightly. That was incredible, Naru-chan, she squealed. Naruto just rubbed the back of his head with a sheepish grin. Nah, it was nothing, he said. A doctor stepped forward. If you're truly assisting us, there are more patients who desperately need someone with your skills. Shall I show you? Yes. The Hokage asked me to lend a hand, Naruto replied, choosing not to slip and call him Jiji. His original purpose had been to see if he could do something for his grandmother, but with so many lives hanging in the balance, there was no way he could walk away. Lead the way. For hours, Naruto worked tirelessly, saving lives one after another. By the time he finished with the final patient, exhaustion weighed on him, but his resolve never wavered. There, that should do it. Rest up and you'll recover fully, he told the Kunoichi before him. Thank you so much, she cried, hugging him in relief. Then her voice trembled. I know this is too much to ask, but is there any way you could replace my arm? That's impossible, another doctor snapped impatiently. We've already told you you'll never have full use again. Naruto, however, remained calm. Actually, I think I can help. The room fell silent. Nurses and doctors alike gaped at him. Even Mikoto was stunned, though her pride swelled with every patient he saved. Why, you can restore her arm, one nurse stammered, staring at the stump. Naruto smirked. I may look like my father, but my mother's Uzumaki blood runs strong in me. Their jaws nearly dropped, and Mikoto chuckled. You really don't know, she said with a sly smile as Naruto prepared his sealing supplies. He's known far and wide as the Surgeon of Death. This is Naruto Namikaze, son of Minato Namikaze, the Yondaime Hokage, and Kushina Uzumaki, Konoha's Red Death, grandson of Tsunade Senju, direct descendant of the first and second Hokages. Her eyes narrowed, her tone cold. And yet, you all chose to torment that poor boy, blaming him for a burden he never asked to bear. The air in the room grew heavy. A single thought raced through their minds. The Kyubai's Jinchuriki. Oi, Obasan, you're making things gloomy, Naruto said cheerfully. He turned to the Kunoichi. Please, show me what's left of your arm. Without hesitation, she raised it. Naruto drew a seal and placed his hand over it. Uzumaki seal, regeneration. Light flared, and before everyone's astonished eyes, a new arm took form. When the glow faded, she had a perfectly healthy limb once more. She flexed her fingers in disbelief. It's back, tears streamed down her face. It'll work just like your other arm, same strength, just give it time to adjust, Naruto explained, only to be suddenly hugged again. I can fight again. I can be a Kunoichi, she asked, her voice shaking. If that's what you want, then yes, he replied with a gentle smile. All right, it's time for you to visit your grandmother, Mikoto said, helping him to his feet. Yeah, I should go, he agreed, brushing dust off his coat. Wait, the woman called out before he reached the door. Is there anything I can do to repay you? Naruto paused, grinned, and glanced back. Repay me. No, if anything, I owe you. Isn't that right, Nikoni-chan? With that, he slipped out, leaving a stunned staff and a teary-eyed Kunoichi. What did he mean by that? A nurse asked, seeing her bittersweet smile. I was part of the ANBU unit assigned to protect him from the mobs when he was little, she whispered. Everyone fell silent, shame creeping over them. Yu-Gi-Oh! Nikoni-chan smiled softly to herself. I'm glad you're back, Atauro. That was amazing. I had no idea you could regenerate entire limbs, Mikoto said as they walked down the hall. Well, back in Uzushio, I studied plenty of sealing texts. I thought, why not combine sealing with medical ninjutsu? Losing a limb usually ends a shinobi's career. It ruins lives. So I made it my goal to change that. It was inspired by my clan's natural talent for regeneration. Tusan once told me Kasan came home from a mission missing a finger, but the very next day, it was back like nothing had happened. Mikoto nodded, recalling her friend's extraordinary abilities. I see. Remember when I mentioned earlier that I needed your help with something? It's about my clan. Whenever our members return from missions, one of their eyes is usually ruined. Not stolen, just completely damaged, beyond even Tsunade's skill to heal. Do you think you'd be able to restore it? She asked hopefully. Well, fixing an ordinary limb isn't the same as repairing a Kekkei Genkai, he replied, noticing her expression fall. He quickly added, I'm not saying I can't do it. You're lucky, I actually developed another seal specifically for those with bloodline abilities. I'll check it once we're home. His reassurance made her break into a relieved smile as she hugged him tightly in thanks. They finally arrived at his grandmother's room. Taking a deep breath, he stepped inside. His gaze softened instantly at the sight of the many machines keeping her stable. She was still his grandmother, the great Tsunade Senju, and yet seeing her so fragile twisted something inside him. Nurses moved around quietly, but his eyes landed on one familiar figure, causing his throat to tight. Shizune, he whispered. The woman froze, eyes widening. Only one person ever called her that. Naruto, she gasped before hurrying over and crushing him in a hug. He clung to her just as fiercely. It had been almost 2 years since he'd last seen her and Tsunade. He could feel how worried she was. Shizune pulled back slightly to study him. He was nearly 15 now, no longer the little boy she remembered. By blood, he was her cousin or nephew, since her uncle had been his grandfather, but she'd always treated him like a younger brother, encouraging him to call her that. Like Tsunade, she carried resentment toward the village for everything he endured growing up. But also like Tsunade, she was proud that those hardships hadn't broken him. Naruto was still the same boy who helped others without expecting anything in return. Seeing him here filled her with joy, though she couldn't help but wonder why. Naruto, why did you come back? Not that I'm unhappy to see you, she asked gently, releasing him. He scratched his head. Well, the old man came to ask for my help. Honestly, if it weren't for Bachan being in danger, or Miko Obasan, or you or Kurama constantly nagging me to settle down, I probably wouldn't have bothered returning. His casual tone made her giggle. I'm glad you did. Tsunade-sama fell into a coma about a week ago. The injuries she took were brutal. It's almost like our enemies are trying to cripple Konoha rather than wipe us out entirely, she said, with a weary shake of her head. That was my thought too when I reviewed the reports. And now it seems Kumo might get involved, Mikoto added with a sigh. Kumo, they'd really consider joining in, Naruto asked, brushing some stray strands of hair from Tsunade's face as he sat at her side. Hi, if we look close to collapse, they'll want to claim part of the wreckage. Thankfully, Suna remains an ally, and Kiri is too divided by their civil war to be a threat, Mikoto explained. Naruto frowned thoughtfully. He'd built good relationships with Kumo's Jinchuriki, the Raikage, and even a few others after helping one of their shinobi years ago. The Raikage, had respected his father and even considered him a rival, so there was a chance Kumo could be swayed if Naruto pledged himself openly to Konoha. Then there was Kiri. Right after leaving the old man, Naruto had rushed there upon receiving a plea for aid. In less than a week, he'd helped topple Yagura, the Sanbai's Jinchuriki, and saved countless lives. Mei Terumi, the new Mizukage, would likely accept an alliance if he pressed for it, but dragging Kiri into another war, he wasn't sure. For now, silence was the better option. Anyway, first things first, we need to wake up Bachan. Naruto suddenly leaned forward and began lightly slapping both sides of Tsunade's face. Oi, Bachan, nap time's over. You've slept long enough, he teased. The nurses gawked in horror, while Shizune and Mikoto stifled giggles. What are you doing to? One nurse began, but cut herself off when Tsunade twitched. Tsunade-sama, Shizune gasped, tears gathering in her eyes. Just a little more, Mikoto whispered, holding her breath. Naruto smirked. Oi, Bachan, the debt collectors are here. In a flash too fast for most eyes, Tsunade shot upright and darted to the window, ready to leap out. Naruto, stall them. Shizune, meet me in the nearest alley. She barked before noticing the confused stares and her grinning grandson. Narrowing her eyes, she growled, You. What? You're awake, aren't you? Naruto replied with a cheeky grin. You brat, she snapped, swatting him on the head before pulling him into a hug. It's good to see you too, Bachan, he murmured, hugging her back. Awa, Shizune, and Mikoto chorused, making him blush. The warmth of their reunion filled the room. Tsunade Senju, renowned medic, legendary Sannin, granddaughter of the Shadame, grandniece of the Nidame, student of the Sandame, and mother of the Yondame Hokage. Few knew that last truth. Her fiancé, Dan Namikaze, had died while she carried their child. To protect him as the Senju heir, she gave him the Namikaze name and kept his existence hidden. She adored Minato with everything she had, and losing him crushed her. She'd withdrawn from the village, unaware she had a grandson, one who would suffer mistreatment at Konoha's hands. When she finally met him, she had denied it at first, but the resemblance to her son was undeniable. His wood release proved his heritage beyond question. She was overjoyed when he told her he wanted to master medical ninjutsu. From then on, she trained him herself, astonished at his brilliance. He absorbed knowledge like a sponge, and his potential surpassed even her highest hopes. She had no doubt he would exceed her one day. Tsunade ignored the others and fixed her sharp gaze on her grandson. What are you doing back in Konoha? She asked as he guided her gently back to bed. Jiji asked for my help. He actually came to see me himself, Naruto answered, surprising her. Sensei personally left the village. That's rare, she muttered. Tsunade-sama, we're so relieved you're awake, a nurse exclaimed. Tsunade's glare cut through the room, freezing them in place. Not a word of what just happened leaves this room. Understand, she warned. The nurses nodded frantically. You should rest, Tsunade-sama. You just woke up, Shizune said softly. I've already been asleep, she blurted out, pushing herself upright. How long was I out? Nearly a week, Mikoto replied calmly, watching her friend's eyes widen in shock. The hospital. What happened to the patients? She asked in a rush. Naruto handled a few surgeries before coming here. The staff won't stop praising his work, Mikoto said with a soft smile as she ruffled the boy's hair. Of course he did well. He's my grandson. What did you expect? Tsunade smirked proudly, folding her arms as Naruto rubbed the back of his head, embarrassed. Since you're awake, I think Miko Oba-san and I should head out. I'm exhausted, Naruto groaned. You're not staying at the Senju compound? Tsunade frowned. He'll be at the Uchiha compound tonight. We've got a lot to catch up on, Mikoto explained, taking his hand. It's good to see you're doing better, Tsunade. I'll visit again soon. Bye Ba-chan, later Shizune, Naruto called as they left the room. Tsunade waved, a soft smile tugging at her lips before it turned into a sly grin. Shizune caught it, gulping nervously. Konoha better brace itself. 2 furious medics are not something to take lightly. By the time Naruto and Mikoto reached the Uchiha compound, night was falling. Their stroll through the village had been pleasant, with villagers bowing respectfully to the Uchiha matriarch. Girls tried sneaking glances at Naruto, but one sharp glare from Mikoto sent them scattering. His resemblance to the yondaime didn't go unnoticed, and when someone finally asked, Mikoto only chuckled and replied, "Don't children usually resemble their parents?" She nearly laughed aloud at the stunned expressions that followed. At the compound, Uchihas welcomed her warmly. Naruto noticed a few curious looks his way, no doubt wondering why he was with her. "Ka-san, you're back," a little girl squealed, racing into Mikoto's arms. "Satsuki-chan, I missed you. Sorry for being away, I had to meet someone very important," Mikoto said fondly. Satsuki's gaze shifted to the blonde beside her mother, recognition dawning. "Naruto Nie-san," she asked, making him blink. "You told her about me?" he asked in surprise. "Of course," Mikoto said with a smile. "Naruto, this is my youngest daughter, Satsuki. Satsuki, this is Naruto Namikaze, my godson." Gasps rippled through the gathered crowd. "Yo, nice to meet you, Satsuki," Naruto said warmly. "Your mom's told me a lot about you." "Really? She's told me all about you too. I'm glad you're here," she beamed, hugging him tightly. The Uchihas looked on, murmuring among themselves. Under Mikoto's leadership, their clan had flourished. Many suspected this boy's presence meant even greater ties with the Hokage and Fire daimyo. "Mikoto-sama, is it true?" one brave clan member asked. "Yes," she confirmed, smiling at her daughter and godson. "He's Minato and Kushina's son. He'll be with us for a week, so welcome him." Cheers erupted. Naruto couldn't help but smile. The Uchihas felt different under his godmother's rule, less prideful, more united. "Oba-san, maybe tomorrow I could." "No need to push yourself. Rest tonight," Mikoto said gently, patting his back. She waved as 2 figures approached, the crowd parting for them. "Naruto, meet my sons Itachi and Sasuke. Boys, this is Naruto, my godchild." "It's an honor. Mother's told us much about you," Itachi said with a polite bow. Sasuke followed suit. "Ka-chan always said I'd meet you someday. Are you staying in Konoha now?" Sasuke asked carefully. Silence fell. Everyone leaned in to hear his answer. Naruto chuckled lightly. "Not sure yet. For now, I've got a contract with the Hokage, but we'll see." Sasuke nodded, satisfied with the answer. "Boys, take Naruto home and help him settle in," Mikoto said firmly. "I have something to announce to everyone." "Come on, Naruto-ne, I'll help." Satsuki grabbed his hand, pulling him along while her brothers followed. Mikoto watched them go with a smile before facing her clan. Many had lost loved ones, eyes, even limbs in the war. They needed hope. "Everyone, listen. Times have been hard, but I bring good news. My godson Naruto has created a technique that can restore lost limbs," she declared. Gasps echoed through the compound. "And not only that, he can even restore Sharingan that were lost. Not tonight, though. He's exhausted. For now, I want a list of every shinobi who lost an eye in battle. Tomorrow, we begin." That's all. Her people cheered as she walked back toward her home, heart swelling with pride. 2 weeks later, the hospital staff still marveled at Naruto's skill. His presence had spread throughout the village, stirring guilt in many who once scorned him. Though apologies came, Naruto split his time between the hospital, the Uchiha, and the Senju compound. He also reconnected with Ino. When she discovered his heritage, she'd been furious he hadn't told her sooner, but their bond held strong. He helped her train, and she showed him parts of the village he'd never seen. Now, Naruto stood at a training ground with the Hokage, his advisors, and many shinobi gathered. They needed him not just as a healer but on the battlefield. To test his combat skill, he was paired against Kakashi Hatake, his father's former student. Naruto grinned. "Good to see you again, Inune-san, still hiding behind those books." Kakashi's eye widened. "You knew." "Of course. How could I forget one of my favorite ANBU? I saw Nikoni when I arrived." Kakashi's eye curved in a smile. "When you healed her arm, it shocked everyone. I'm proud of you, Atauto." Whispers rippled through the crowd, while Hiruzen and his advisors exchanged knowing smiles. Word of Naruto's regenerative work, restoring even Kekkei Genkai, had spread quickly. Miracle Worker wasn't just a title, he'd earned it. "I'm just doing my job as a doctor," Naruto said as they both squared off. "This match will demonstrate his combat skill," Hiruzen announced. "Naruto Namikaze versus Kakashi Hatake. Begin." Naruto vanished. "Saru!" He reappeared in front of Kakashi, striking his chest before the man could react. Kakashi flew back, stunned, but quickly retaliated. Their clash drew gasps of awe, Hiruzen's chest swelling with pride. When the spar ended, Kakashi approached, studying the boy who looked so much like his late sensei. "Minato-sensei would be proud of you." "Thank you, Kakashi," Naruto said softly. "You've done well, my boy," Hiruzen added, hugging him like a grandson. Naruto smiled. "Thanks, Jiji, but I'm still more of a healer." Hiruzen chuckled. "Perhaps, but you're far more than that, too."